What's up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoints. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Losers Tables. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Round Shampoos. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Shared Screens Media Club. Today, we are doing our Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness Spoilercast. Joining me today from the Dark Dimension is LeighErin Jazz.
Hi, my camera's still not fucking working.
I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe somewhere in the multiverse it is. And also here with us today is Alec Bobko.
Hello.
All right, guys, so we finally got it. We finally got the Multiverse of Madness. I know that there were a lot of mixed thoughts as to what would happen in this movie. We've been waiting on it for a while. I think since the second this title was announced at what feels like a decade ago, Comic-Con, people were going, this is where the MCU is headed next. What did we think of the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
I enjoyed it. It's like going into it, I mean, you're being Multiverse of Madness, being like they're finally like, No Way Home was kind of like, okay, multiverse is kind of like starting up, getting going. Multiverse of Madness is like, okay, it is here. Let's get crazy, let's go nuts. And it wasn't quite as crazy or multiversey as I thought it was going to be, but I enjoyed it. The Sam Raimi-ness of it really showed. And for better or for worse, some parts. But yeah, overall, I'd say I enjoyed it, but kind of, to me, mid-tier MCU.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's also important to remember that, funny enough, somewhere in the multiverse, this was supposed to come out first. No Way Home was supposed to build off stuff that happened in this movie. And so having them switch, it's really interesting to wonder, like, what would have been different in both movies had they come out in that originally intended order. LeighErin, what did you think?
Okay. I think it's a fantastic movie in the way it's written, all the acts matter, like, it's great that way. I do not feel I got what I was promised. I think calling this a horror movie is a joke.
Yeah.
Which is my big issue. Like that's on them 100%. That's not on fans where like they were like, this is gonna be scary, like this is gonna be horrifying, like this is the first MCU horror movie. And I'm not saying it had to be rated R horror, but like there's like I don't understand, like this wasn't even like what a PG-13 horror movie would be. Like, I don't know, I wanted more. And that just kind of like fell flat for me at certain points. And at the end of the day, and this has nothing to do with the movie, that's just me being irritated with Marvel, they spoiled a ton of stuff themselves. So then by the time the leak came out, which I saw part of the leak by accident, I knew the entire movie at that point, just from the trailers and seeing one screen of a leak. And I was like, okay, well, I know this entire plot point now. Which was annoying. And like, I wish we hadn't seen so much in the trailers.
Yeah. I remember telling you this, where it's like Marvel couldn't decide whether or not they wanted to admit Patrick Stewart was in this movie. Where like they at no official way went, Patrick Stewart is coming back as Charles Xavier, or showed him in a trailer, but they gave you his voice. He mentioned it in a interview and nobody did shit. And then like a week before the movie came out, they did a trailer where you see his hand on the wheelchair. And it was like, guys, choose an angle here. Either put his face out there and get everybody in that way, or act like he's not in it. Now,
I feel like it would have been so much cooler if we didn't know it all and he had rolled up.
Exactly.
Like, it would have been dope.
If they kept the Illuminati stuff, like just like kept the Ultron bots like leading him somewhere. Like that's the only shot we see.
Okay with them saying the name Illuminati, just because I truly didn't know who we would see on it. Especially because I, at first, through the trailers, was thinking it was a multiversal council for of the Illuminati. Like rather than the Illuminati be what they are in the comics, which they were in this movie for that specific universe, which is these people that get together, make the tough decisions. I thought they were going to be the Illuminati of the multiverse.
Mhm.
So I kind of wasn't like was like, oh, I wonder who will show up in it. Now I was fortunate enough not to get spoiled. So John Krasinski legitimately surprised me. I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, that got spoiled for me, and I think it got spoiled for everybody who was in my theater because literally no one reacted.
My theater didn't have like cheers and applause, but it had a few oh shits, one of which was me.
That's
Nobody
about what
reacted
ours
to
was.
anything in my theater, and there was a part of me that doesn't like it when people react in theaters that was like, fuck yeah, because I just hate it when people react in movie theaters because it makes me uncomfortable. Where usually because it startles me. Um, but there was another half of me that was like, wow, nothing, none of you have any reaction to any of this, nothing.
I feel like we needed a middle ground, you know, where I didn't need the audience cheering and clapping for 30 seconds after we saw, you know, Jim from The Office's face show up, but a few woos and yes, like that's nice.
um, yeah, very like I was like, wow. Either everybody in this room got spoiled, or I am sitting in a room full of other as pessimistic Marvel fans as I am, which is a completely new experience for me.
Yeah. Um, I'm kind of with you on I didn't get what I was expecting slash promised. Now, I don't necessarily think or wanted the movie to have been what other people wanted, where it was like a cameo fest of like, we're gonna see every early 2000s Marvel movie.
Oh, I
But
didn't want that either. I
I
just
did
wanted
not
him to
say.
do weird, fucked up shit. I wanted Wanda to rip someone's head off with her own hands. Like, I wanted to actually
well, I
be
mean,
afraid. And,
she
like,
got ghosted.
I understand like where they're going, and we'll as we get further into it and we talk about that post-credit scene, like I think I know where we're going. I just wish they had been like, here's Satan, like here's the devil.
Mhm.
Like not really, but like that level of like creepy and horror and weird. Like
Yeah, I felt as though like the movie had a lot of horror elements. I get what you mean when you're like it didn't feel like a horror movie. Another thing to remember is that Sam Raimi took the project on because the original director, the same one as the first one, Scott Derrickson, left for creative differences. And I wonder if like Marvel needed the plot to come first before the horror. And that's what led to that.
I think we're in a time where we've had so many horror movies that have shown that there does not need to be a trade-off between plot and horror elements. Like Midsummer and Hereditary all have phenomenal, well thought out plots, but are terrifying.
But those are
And
also standalone
I'm not
movies.
saying to that level. Well,
Well, you know what I mean. They're not part of a grander
stand
universe.
well, there's a theory. We don't know. Um
There's
like
always a theory.
there's a whole thing with like things that the director has said where he's like implied that like I don't want to spoil those movies. That's not what we're here to spoil. And like those
Mhm.
movies are fantastic. But even like it, which has such a heavy plot and was going to be two movies and does exist in theory in a bigger universe because all the Stephen King books take place in the same universe. Like it does not sacrifice any of the plot, and I feel gets the themes of the plot across better than the book does at times, while still being very scary and like making you uncomfortable. Like I was never uncomfortable, and I'm a really easy person to make uncomfortable. Like I'm a bitch. Like I'm shocked that there are people out there that are like, I think it was too much.
I don't
Right?
think it was too much in terms
Thank
of
you.
effects. Like, I think I described it as something where it's like, if you think about the shit that Wanda did, you're like, God damn, that's horrifying. You know, having Black Bolt implode his own head, ripping together Mr. Fantastic like string cheese. But graphically, it wasn't horrific to look at. It wasn't like a Tarantino movie where you shoot someone and now suddenly the room is all red.
Yeah, but here's the other thing: is like, because fuck Tarantino, and Tarantino doesn't make horror movies either. Like,
Yeah, but he's known
the
for being like,
comparisons that these people are making, gore does not equal horror. That's not what anybody is saying when they're like, it should have been scarier. It didn't need to be gorier. Like, it
well,
wasn't
I'm
gory
talking
at
just
all,
in
and that
terms of
wasn't the problem.
I'm talking just in terms of people being like, was it too much? I think the kills, if you think about what they're doing, are like ridiculous.
How is that
over
any
the top.
different than what we saw in fucking Falcon and Winter Soldier? Falcon and Winter Soldier's rated PG-13. We watched fucking John Walker beat the shit out of somebody with the edge of the shield. Like, that's just as fucked up
You literally
as, like, basically
see it all
shooting.
bloody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, it's you hear that man begging for his life. Like, it's very visceral. I wanted more of that. Like, watching Black Bolt be shot from the inside out was cool in that that's a dope concept that she can do that. Beyond anything else, it's like, okay. And then, I don't know how that would have... Okay, I can't conceptualize what happened to Mr. Fantastic happening to a human because it physically can, and so it's not that freaky. Because, like, he's a guy. Like, he's a stretchy dude, and, like, okay, you twirled him? Like, yeah, I don't know where I was. I missed that part. I don't know where I was.
Where, like, you know, his hands and feet go all shreddy, and at some point, all that's left is his head, and she kind of just squeezes the rest of him out through that.
Yep.
But
I completely missed that part. I don't know what I was doing, but, you know.
Go back and
like, and then the Captain Carter and Monica's deaths were just kind of like, or not Monica, Maria's deaths were just kind of like whatever. Like, those are very average deaths.
I don't know if getting cut in half is average, but, like, it is a little bit more like this is realistic.
To Marvel, yeah.
Darth Maul, too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh
like,
my god,
it's
is Peggy gonna come back with spider legs?
Maybe.
No.
In that universe.
No.
Yeah.
Fucking hated that. I hated that so much. God, whoever I stand by, whoever came up with that. This is what I mean. That is not horror. That was a children's show. And that got a visceral reaction out of me. And I don't like to think about it. And I, like, turned the lights on while it was happening. And that was a children's show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just saying, like, there could have been more. And, like, they didn't seem to... Like, if you're gonna make Wanda a villain, go full hog and make her a bad person. Like, just make her a psychotic... You literally said at the beginning of the film that the Darkhold, like, corrupts whatever it touches. Make her, like, a demon. Like, make her a demon. You put America... They put America Chavez on, like, an altar, like, a cheesy, like, Hellboy movie. And I was like, yes! Give it to me! Give me the virgin sacrifice! Give it to me! And then it just didn't go anywhere. Like, don't get me wrong, Doctor Strange walking into its own corpse, making a cape out of the souls of the damned is metal as fuck, but it's not scary.
Right.
It's just dope. It's so cool.
Like, that was a cool callback. That was like Chekhov's corpse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm not a fan of horror movies, like, at all. So, and like, even this, like, didn't, like, scare me. Like, there's some, like, tense moments because it's like, oh, the music's gone. You know something's gonna happen, but there's nothing that really scared. You know, like it was like horror.
Yeah, like I jumped when Wong turned around with the torch and that like monster thing was there, but that's not horror. That's just you threw in a jump scare.
Yeah,
right.
Like that could scare a dog.
I feel like the horror showed more through the filmmaking than it did in the actual content. If that makes sense.
I don't feel that. Like nothing about it felt horror. It just felt weird.
When they were in that room and then Wanda's going in through the reflections of the water, like that felt like, oh, we're being chased after something.
Yeah, but even that wasn't scary. Like, and they could have gone somewhere with that. Like, they could have made that like really freaky, but. Yeah, it never came back. They just did it for a second. Some people got pulled into a puddle. We don't know if she killed them or what happened to them. They got pulled into a puddle. It never came
dimension,
back.
I guess.
Yeah, like.
Which
and then Cassidy in theory get
their sling ring. They should have their sling ring.
Yeah.
So they should just.
That's why I think she killed them. Wanda was killing bitches in this.
But we didn't
True.
see it. Like, I wanted you. So simply, you could have put noise in there that, like, just would have made it sound like she was slaughtering these motherfuckers as they came in, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
Instead, we got her pop out like a weird zombie and, like, grab
Like the Ring.
America for, like, a second. Yeah. And then she came out and she's, like, popping her joints into place. I'm like, you've given me nothing to believe that this is something that would happen to her pulling out of this. So it's not, like, it's a weird visual, but it's not scary.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Sam Raimi would have gone further. Because as cheesy as it is, I would argue that, like, only this scene, not the entire movie, just the Doc Ock, like, surgery scene is, like, scarier than this entire movie.
Yeah. And the Doc Ock surgery scene is very corny,
Cheesy.
old school horror, but it's like
cheesy as fuck.
he did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Like,
And it is still scarier than, like... Also, if you're taking your 7-year-old to a PG-13 movie and they're scared of it, that's on you. That's not on Marvel.
Yeah.
They don't need to, like...
Yeah.
That's on you. Like, the MPAA is dumb, but, like... They put the PG-13 thing there for a reason. It is basically to say, hey, this might make it that your child doesn't sleep tonight. Take that as you will.
When I was in elementary school, I found out that Scary Movie 3 isn't actually a scary movie, but a funny movie. I didn't know what parodies were back then. I was like 7. But turns out that even when it's played off as a joke, a bitch crawling out of the television is scary. So I
Yeah.
love that movie.
Exactly. Like, even when it's a joke, like, things are can be freaky. And, like, the PG-13 is there for a reason. And, like, I feel like it's the same thing we went through with Batman, where people are like, I brought my kids to this wholesome Batman movie, and they were traumatized. And it's like,
I mean,
nobody
forget
ever
Batman.
tried to pretend it was wholesome.
Forget
Nobody-
Batman. Remember when that was a whole issue with Deadpool? Because parents were like, superheroes are for kids. It's like, not this one. Not this one,
No!
Karen.
That's why it's R. Like,
That's why it's rated R, you dumb fuck! Why do you, like, truly, I don't understand it. Like, look me in the eye and please explain to me how you don't see the difference between Iron Man and Deadpool just as characters, and go, hey, Marvel rated Iron Man PG, they've rated this one R. What could be the difference?
The R stands for Are You Stupid?
Yeah, like, it just drives me crazy when parents are like, how dare Disney? And it's like, nobody tried to pretend. Disney is very misleading with its trailers sometimes. Brave being the biggest example I can think of. Everybody thought that was a different movie going in.
I found out recently that movie is not about a family of bears and the redhead, and I was so confused.
Yeah. Like, it's not about what anyone went into. People either went into that movie thinking it was about a family of bears, or they went into that movie thinking it was going to be like a princess overcoming like sexism, and everybody left upset. And it's a good movie. It's just not what anyone thought was going to happen. And like Marvel does that all the time, but with like this movie, nobody was hiding. Nobody was trying to be like, oh, we're gonna traumatize your kids and make them worship Satan. Like, no, they were like, this is gonna be a horror movie. It wasn't, but like, what? Either way, like nobody, and like it just, they were not keeping it a secret that it wasn't for kids.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, even toward, like, one of the trailers or the TV spot that I saw, like, they had, like, Wong is hanging from the cliff and he's, like, yells strange. It's like, it's just the way that it was edited in that, or a different take versus what was in the movie. Like, he was, like, cheering.
Yeah.
There was a lot of takes that were different in the trailer versus this one. Or maybe it was just the context in which it was being shown to me and I suddenly saw it different, but like Wanda saying that line about like, you break the rules and you're a hero, I do it, I'm the villain.
Yeah.
Very different vibes in the in the teaser we got after No Way Home and in the context of the movie.
Really quick.
Yes.
Can we talk about how stupid that first Doctor Strange's ponytail is? What the fuck was that?
We all have bad haircuts in the multiverse.
It's such a stupid haircut. Like, he looks ridiculous. Partly because it's one of those ponytails where you don't know it's there until they turn, and then this ponytail appears.
And it's like not a necessary, like if you took it out of a ponytail, you would not have hair in the way. It's like
No.
episode 2 Obi-Wan ponytail.
Yeah, it's just like a weird little rat ponytail that it looks like just the top part of his hair is as long, it goes down to his shoulder, but everything else is short.
Yeah.
And it's just really fucking weird.
But that Doctor
And like,
Strange
we
was a
didn't need the
dick,
ponytail.
so
I mean, isn't he always?
yeah,
I
but
thought
I
it
don't
was
know.
interesting. They had like the whole like dreams are views into other multiverses. I thought that was kind of
Yeah,
cool.
that's gonna fuck me up for a while.
Yeah, that was sick. That was a sick thing. And then when he, at the end, when the bad Doctor Strange, the like sad, I've destroyed my world Doctor Strange,
Oh
was
yeah,
like, if you've ever had a dream that I pushed you off a high place, like if you ever had a dream you were falling, like you'd just been pushed off a high place, that was probably me.
that
That
was
is
probably
also
me.
metal as fuck. That is a great line.
Was this movie horror? No. Was this movie metal? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that's the thing. It's like I'm okay with that and I liked it because it was so metal and like it's in like my top 10. It just I wish it was more.
Yeah.
yep.
I mean,
Oh, that music
as
fight though.
I was gonna say, as well as metal, we could talk about classical for a second because that
That
music
music
fight
fight was
was
dope.
so fucking cool.
So cool.
I want to watch that when I'm under the influence of many substances. I want to watch that in 3D, but fuck, that was cool.
Yeah, and
I
it like I thought it was gonna be nothing for a while, and then it just like kept. I thought it was just gonna be quick, and then it became a whole fight, and it was sick.
And
Yeah.
the little harp at the end, just wrecking everything.
I wish we got more shit like that, but I also don't need the movie to be every fight is going to be something
Crazy.
unique and cool. You can only do
Mhm.
that so many times. Um,
Yeah,
but I want to ask two things. First thing I'll start with is I think it's going to be an easier discussion. Without it have not necessarily saying do you wish it was a cameo fest, but do you wish that they went to more universes? Because I don't necessarily think those two have to be the same thing.
no, content.
Yeah.
Content, but yeah, I think it would be cool if they would have like stayed a little bit more because I know like it was cool that they stayed in like those like 2-3 multiverses or universes for a bit, but it would have been nice if they would have maybe had like maybe one more montage of them like flying through a
Yeah.
bunch.
And like the montage was cool. I'm sure there's a bunch of Easter eggs in it. I wanna, but again, like I don't necessarily have wanted would have wanted like every montage, every section of that montage to been a giant Easter egg. But I think at one point somebody said, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it, that they fly right past the Living Tribunal.
I think I heard that one too.
Yeah.
Another
Something that
rumor
they-
I heard was in that one they fly past Vader's palace on Mustafar.
I said that as a joke in my head when I saw the
little
lava.
spider skeletons were crawling out of the lava. Because did any
was
of you catch that part?
Mm-mm.
No, I did not.
He went through like this fire planet where there were just like it looked like when you knock over an anthill and all the ants are running are just on fire skeletons.
Oh,
That's
It was
fucking terrifying.
sick. It was so cool.
Something that is gonna fuck with me for a while is when they get he goes in one of those where we paint, and America goes, yeah, you don't want to get stuck in that one. It's hard to find food. But if you're paint, why do you need food? I'm so confused.
It's not paint like we think of it's paint like
you're still like a living organism.
a sentient being and sentient beings, living organisms need any sort of like they need
Sustenance.
food. Yeah.
Yes, fucked with me. The montage was super cool. I would have liked to see another one just to see what they would have done with it. But the second question I want to ask is, and this is probably my biggest complaint with the movie, is Wanda too irredeemable now? Because personally, I felt WandaVision ended, and getting the whole context of that story, I was like, she did a bad thing that originally started because she couldn't control it. She then wanted to live this life for a while, but she stopped it because she realized the extent of what she was doing and how wrong it was. And she felt remorse, but people also don't know what she necessarily gave up, and she flew away. In this one, I find so much of the stuff that she did so much harder to redeem than Westview.
I don't, just because they had that line where they were like, the Darkhold corrupts anybody who touches it or anything that comes into contact with it. And like, Agatha probably knew that when she, like, flashed the Darkhold in front of Wanda and went, hey, want all the answers as to where you come from and why you are the way you are? They're all in this book. And then, like, kind of gave it to Wanda. Like, Wanda, we saw at first in her little cabin making tea, has been through something between now and then, and I think it's the Darkhold, and I think, like, we're going places. But I'll get there as we get further into, like...
Yeah. Because I'm like, for me, I follow the rules in these types of movies, where if I don't see a body, I don't believe you're dead. So I don't care if she dropped a building on herself, I don't think she's dead.
Do you think that little explosion was her like saving herself at the last second? Or is that
Saving
her dying?
herself,
I
teleporting
don't think
away.
she's dead just because I don't think, like, everybody loves this character at this point. I don't think
Oh,
you're
yeah.
gonna kill her off.
No,
Exactly.
that would be so stupid to do.
And I also don't think that they would have ended her story in this way.
Yeah.
So by no means do I think Wanda's dead, or at the very least permanently dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I felt like I was surprised that it turned out to be that the Wanda that we knew was the actual villain. I remember going in, people thinking it was going to be a Wanda from a different universe. And then as the movie kept going, I thought it was a Wanda from a different universe, dreamwalking as her. And then at one point, I thought that it was the evil version of Strange doing something to Wanda to lure out this version of Strange. None of that ended up happening. So I was just kind of surprised that they stuck with their guns of making this Wanda the actual villain of the movie.
I mean, in a way,
though.
it makes sense though, just because, like you said, we didn't know what it was called, the Darkhold, before this movie. So it's like we saw her using the astral projection, reading it, going through that. So you got to assume there's been time between then and when this movie happened. So she's been corrupted, for years.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I don't think she flew away from Westview with the intention of this. I think
exactly, yeah.
This happened over a period of time.
I mean, you saw that apple orchard, like,
yeah. That apple orchard was fucked up.
Did you guys catch on that she said America's name?
Yeah.
See, I whispered to myself, and the person next to me, I was like, oh, he didn't say her name. And my friend goes, it's probably just a continuity error. And then 3 seconds later, Strange was like, I never told you her name.
No, she says it, because you see Strange stop walking.
I never told you your name.
Yeah, no.
You never said her name, did you?
Lucky guess.
Like, the fact that, like, they keep saying, like, they were sending demons after her. I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This movie gave us fake outs on Wong dying multiple times, and I was ready to, like, if I was like, if we leave the movie and Wong's dead, I'm rioting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like
what's gonna happen to Abomination? We'll never know.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
I want to know.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I want to know what Wong's relationship with that chick who died is.
Oh, they totally used to fuck when they were at the academy.
They, like, absolutely used to fuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
they couldn't be
everybody
together
knows that.
emotionally because they're sorcerers, but, like, they enjoyed their time together. I was gonna say,
I just was watching this. I was like, this energy is a lot. Like,
yeah,
if you guys don't want us to think they fucked, like, you're not doing a good job of it.
Like, there's definitely, like, a history there. I was gonna say about Abomination, like, oh shit, if Wong dies, who's gonna feed him?
Right? That's my thought.
No.
I'm sure.
That was my thought. If he dies, what's gonna happen to Abomination? He's just gonna be stuck in whatever.
Roth lives a perfectly independent life and does stuff with Wong on the side. I like to think that Wong has him in a giant cage, and not in like a I've kidnapped you, but like you are a pet.
Yeah.
Some might call that a kennel, not a cage.
Well, you know what I meant.
I know.
Animal cage.
Cage. Those are just synonyms.
I was very excited when we got confirmation that this is Earth 616. That was just very exciting for me.
Our theater popped off at that. I don't know if it was because people actually knew what 616 meant, or if it's just because that's our area code.
Honestly, Alec, I'm gonna think it's the area code thing, just because that's really funny to me.
That's my
Yeah,
thought process too.
I have issue with it being 616, but there's an explanation that I've been hearing, or that I've heard even before this movie, that I think makes sense. To us, the readers of the Marvel Universe, the comics have always been 616. The Ultimate Universe was 1610, I believe. Um, and the MCU was 1-9999, and I think like this Spider-Man game, I'm just going to use that as an example, it's the fourth one, I think is like 248. I could be wrong on that. But from what I understand is whatever universe you are reading or watching or playing, like whatever main universe that media takes place in, they will always dub themselves 616. And the reason why I say that is because in Into the Spider-Verse, when you see numbers flash up on the screen for a bit, the universe that Peter B. Parker comes from is the 616 universe. That was the only time where the primary one wasn't, is because we all know the Ultimate Universe is 1610. But you can't tell me that Peter B. Parker is Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So I think it's one of those things where in the MCU, they will always dub themselves the 616 universe as a nod to the comics, but that the 616 universe is still the comics.
Gotcha.
That's just my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really particularly care either way because I guarantee you that much thought process didn't go into it. That was one of those things that I saw people talking about on Twitter, and I went, this is where we all have to be like, we're thinking about this
Just
too hard.
accept it.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like, I just think you have to understand that every Marvel thing is going to want to call themselves 616, but
I don't think it matters, though. Like, because you could argue that the MCU is just an adaptation of the comics of 616.
It is, but the idea of the multiverse is even if one detail is different, it's suddenly a different universe.
I am aware.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just saying I don't think it. I think people who are worried about this are overthinking it.
Here comes another thing I saw that I'm not totally.
What? That was such a funny lead into a sentence.
I'm sorry.
Here's something.
Well, I did see something else, and I want to bring it to a bigger conversation about America's character, where some people think that the MCU exists in its own. What's above a multiverse? An omniverse, I guess.
Fucking
its
no.
own multiverse.
And the reason is because America says that there is no other version of there. She is the only one in the multiverse. She didn't even say that she's a Nexus being. There are no other America Chavezes. And on top of that, this adaptation of America is much younger than any we've gotten in the comics. That was said by the actress herself. I didn't pick up on this right away. The character of America Chavez is supposed to be 14 in this movie. Now, it's also a 14-year-old
really
who's, like,
me.
grew up on the street and, like, has seen some shit, so maybe that's why she can, like, hold her own with, like, Doctor Strange and stuff. But it is an interesting choice to be like, yeah, you're like a freshman in high school.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you think about it, though, like, they're probably going to age them up before they actually get to Young Avengers, because you think, Wanda's kids, they're actual kids,
They are literal children.
Those kids are adorable.
Yes, they are.
True.
One of them ran up to her on the red carpet. It was very cute.
They're adorable. I love them so much. They're also like BFFs now, and I think that's cute.
Yeah, no, they're very cute, and I saw people today being like, damn, that song was cringe. And I was like, you guys do know that kids write cringe.
Cringy as fuck.
It is, but that's what kids do. Kids write cringy songs.
But I don't have to sit through it in a Marvel movie.
But what I'm saying is, like, it's a purposely cringe thing. It's not like Marvel was going, the kids are going to love this one. And now they're on Twitter being like, oh no, they find it cringe. We fucked up. Like, they knew
So long. Neither of you watch Euphoria, but it's like in Euphoria, the finale, some kid just started singing at one point, and everybody's like, okay, he's going to do this for like 30 seconds. And then it went on for 2 minutes. And we were all like, okay, this was fine at the beginning, but now this is weird.
They could have made the song a snap. Like, they could have made that song like a 10-second thing.
And we all would have been fine with it. Like,
Yeah.
because literally he's like, can I play you a song I've been working on? So we're all imagining like 30 to 45 seconds. And then he goes on for 2 minutes and everybody was like, you're working on it? Like, it's not done?
He actually intends it to be the length of American Pie. So yes, that was just working on it.
Oh my god.
Also, I found out today that in the scene where she's going to that other universe and she like busts in on the kids and they're screaming witch, witch, and they're throwing shit on her. And
Mhm.
she yells, stop it at them in like the classic mom voice. That was unscripted, and so the kids' reactions were real.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and she came up to the master. She was like, I didn't mean to yell. Like, it's fine. But like, I was one of those people that was like, oh, that is a mom stop it. Like, I feel like everyone in the theater was like, I'm so sorry.
Yep. Yeah.
We all felt a little shame.
A little bit, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she's irredeemable. I don't think it, okay. Nobody has said Nexus being, period. We saw it for 30 seconds in a commercial in WandaVision. It has not been said to us, oh, like, she's a Nexus being, like, that concept hasn't been brought up, so the idea of them making America Chavez a Nexus being doesn't seem out of the question to me.
Makes sense. It is also possible she's just never run into other hers.
Or they were all dead. Or, like, there's so many things that could have happened that I think being like, oh, well, the MCU is in, like, this completely different multiverse from the... It doesn't matter. Why does it matter?
Mhm.
They're just entities unto themselves. Like...
Also, she's only been to, what was it,
doesn't matter.
she's only been to,
Limited
what was it, 73 universes? There's
Yeah.
an infinite
And we know
amount more.
And we know for a fact that at least one of them was paint. And I guarantee that she could have ran into herself every day and not recognized it.
Exactly. Like... We're
Mhm.
all... I saw somebody say today on Twitter where they were like, I just wish we had more because, like, this feels like we're back to phase 1 with how the movies are going. Yeah, we are!
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
back in phase 1! The Infinity Saga is over. We are basically back in phase 1.
Mhm.
Everything that happened in this movie makes sense for a phase 1 or 2 sequel. Like, I don't understand what the problem is.
Well, it's people they just think it's got to keep escalating, but it's like, no, after an event like Infinity War and Endgame, you have to go back to square one, essentially. Like, you can't
Exactly.
Yeah.
keep ramping that up.
Let's
remember what it
assume
was.
that... Go ahead.
I remember what the tweet was. It was that none of it's connecting, and it feels like we're back in phase 1 where they could be all standalone movies. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. We're building to something here, guys. We didn't know Thanos and the Infinity Stones were involved until Avengers.
Yeah, the only connecting thread of the phase 1 movies, ignoring Avengers when it all came together, was that an Infinity Stone came into play during... Wait, there isn't even an Infinity Stone in Thor 1. So no, none of them in
It was just
phase
the
1
Tesseract, which we didn't know was an Infinity Stone at that point.
Yes. Okay, and then it showed up again in Captain America. But like, yeah, we didn't know shit about any of that in phase 1. It wasn't even until we saw Thanos smirking in the post-credit scene of Avengers
Yeah,
we were like,
inkling.
oh, this is what they're trying... We were like,
An
oh, this is what they're
inkling.
trying
That
to
was-
do. Yeah.
That's where that was going. Yeah. Everything led up to in phase 1 was Avengers and that fight against Loki. It was not this big bad. Which if we are ready, we can dive into that end credit scene and I can go with where I think
Please
we're
explain
going
it to
here.
me. I had
That
no
is what
idea
I
who
was
that
going to
was.
segue into since we were talking about the post-credit scene. So go ahead.
Okay, so who that is, her name is Clea. And she is from the Dark Dimension where Dormammu is. That's why she cuts open the fabric of the world to like...
I'll say, I recognize the Dark Dimension there, so.
Yeah, I recognize that as well.
Okay. So she is the daughter of, I think her name is like Irma or Ulma, something like that, who is the sister of Dormammu.
So their parents
so
named
Clea-
one of them Dormammu and the other Irma.
It was something like that, yeah. Her mom's name isn't really important. But all that's important is that her mom is the sister of Dormammu. And so she comes into Strange's world to get his help fighting Dormammu, and they end up falling in love, and they end up getting married. and like having a life together that ends and Clea becomes Doctor Strange when Mephisto kills Doctor Strange in a deal gone bad in a big comic event. And so I really think, I'm not even saying this for the meme anymore. I truly think the big bad we're leading to is Mephisto. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm saying it full force. Like, after Kevin Smith said during WandaVision that, like, Mephisto is such a big villain in the character and is such a big, like, is a Thanos level big bad, and that we're not going to get him till later, I'm starting to see the pieces come together and how Kang being, like, an inciting thing in the multiverse can, like, play into things with Mephisto coming up and, like, Children of Satan and all that kind of stuff. Like, I can see where it's going.
Well,
but yeah, basically she brings Doctor Strange in to help take down Dormammu and save the Dark Dimension from, like, imploding on itself, basically.
Okay. Because I think the pieces are starting to fit together a little bit, and I just say that because Quantumania swapped spots with the Marvels.
Yeah, and I think I was gonna say, I think once we see what Quantumania is doing with Kang, that's gonna really show a big piece of the puzzle right there.
But then we also have the Agatha Harkness show too. So
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see Agatha in this.
I can understand why. I mean, they basically like cursed her.
I'm not saying they should. Yeah, if they didn't have a reason to, I'm not saying they
Mhm.
should have. I would have been more like, if you had told me, oh, she shows up in this, I like really wouldn't have been surprised.
Oh yeah.
That also, that reminded me of something else about the movie that I really liked, which was them kind of explaining the differences in magic, where they were like, that wasn't sorcery, there was runes, it was witchcraft.
Mhm.
And so I think that's like this idea that magic is like this entity, and the way people access it is through different means.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we already kind of knew the
sorry, I'm
witches.
coughing.
Oh yeah, because we already knew from WandaVision that witches use runes, whereas sorcerers use spells and conjure things that way.
Yeah. I just always thought that, like, not that I thought they could be interchangeable, but like there was never a full on distinction as to like the way people tell them apart, or like
Gotcha.
you could have assumed that Doctor Strange might be able to manipulate runes, but chooses not to, and vice versa.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's who Clea is, and I'm very excited. Because she's a
Mhm.
fun character in the
That sounds
comics.
awesome.
And Charlize Theron is so hot.
I didn't even recognize her as that actress.
Yeah, that's Charlize Theron.
Holy cow.
She looks great.
Okay. Yeah.
The fucking purple eyeliner, like, fuck yeah. And I truly think that, like, Rachel McAdams, that Christina's married because she's married in this universe and they are not together, and that, like, they may be introducing Clea as his love interest.
I will love you in every universe
that hurt my feelings.
Yeah. Ladies, if your man doesn't say that to you, dump him.
That really hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. That hurt me a lot.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Well, the third eye thing was weird, though. I'll just say that.
Well, I guess it's showing that nobody, even someone like Strange, can use the Darkhold even just one time for a short period of time without there being some effect, whether they,
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying
like,
the effect just looked weird.
Cleopatra. Sorry, hang on.
Your cat
Wheels
or
being a
Charlize
monster.
Theron?
My cat. Hi, honey. I know.
Gotcha.
You
Okay.
need to be held. Okay.
Alec, did you play Ultimate Alliance 2? I'm going somewhere with this.
Yes, but not recently.
Okay.
It's been since it was on the Wii.
Gotcha. I didn't know who the character of Clea was, so when she came out, I thought it was Songbird, but I truly only know Songbird from that game, and I don't think she's ever been in any Marvel thing besides some comics and that one game. LeighErin, is your cat done fucking shit up?
Yeah, I'm holding her now, and now she's happy.
Cool.
But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to move forward too, because I think the other reason they might be in like introducing Clea is because I'm not calling you Jesus Christ.
To be fair, that is confusing.
It is, but like, I'm
let her
not calling
off. Yeah.
you.
She is just a cat.
Sit down, you're okay. Um, but so Benedict Cumberbatch's original contract is up. And like obviously he signed on for more because they had the whole like Doctor Strange will return and we're very clearly setting something up
He
there.
wasn't signed up for a trilogy?
No, he was only signed up for 6 movies, not a trilogy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Then we get to this whole thing of like not really doing contracts anymore, I guess. From
Yeah.
what I've heard. So I don't know. That could just be something too.
But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
America being at the
Go ahead.
sanctum
Hermitage.
or the yeah, thank you. Was not where I expected her to end up, but like okay.
She's gonna be a full blown sorcerer.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
saw somebody go, what if we just saw Ned Leeds in there as well?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked how unique the movie was in its style. I also another like section that I really liked is I feel like so many people are talking about the music fight, and rightfully so. But I really liked the way they did the thing when they were sitting down with Mordo drinking tea and he was telling them that story.
Okay,
Just
can
like
I say really quickly that if I was sorry, this connects, I swear. That if I was Doctor Strange of that universe, of that Illuminati 838 or whatever they said it was.
Mhm.
And I was that Doctor Strange. Fucking Black Bolt or whatever the shit his name is, saying I'm sorry to kill me would piss me off a little bit. Even if I was like resigned to die, I knew that that's what had to happen because of my actions. I've made my peace with it. Don't say you're fucking sorry. You're not really sorry because if you were sorry, you wouldn't be doing it. Like, don't say I'm sorry. Like, fuck off. Patrick Stewart, that scene though in the White Void was very cool.
That scene was really cool in multiple ways because it looked like the way she's always described her and her brother being trapped in their
Under the
home.
rubble.
That TV was playing the first episode of WandaVision.
Yeah.
Oh, I
He
didn't
rolled
notice
up
that.
looking
That's
like
cool.
Steve.
Yeah,
he
it
rolled
was
up looking
playing
like Steve
the
Jobs.
Yeah. He looked
Man,
good though. Even
the
though his
amount-
pants were up to his nipples.
Yeah.
He's an old man. That's what they do. My grandfather used to do the same thing.
So the amount of what was it, serotonin or whatever hormone or whatever you want to call it played when the WandaVision theme played. Oh my gosh.
I know.
That was a nice touch.
Did you guys notice that when fucking not Doctor Strange, when Dr. Xavier, when Professor Doctor, that's not even his name, Professor Xavier came out. Yeah, it was the fucking cartoon theme. It wasn't even from the X-Men movies. It was the fucking cartoon theme.
So there,
Yeah.
I think this one is very much supposed to be a variant more on that of the cartoon version, given the wheelchair as well.
So, given the fucking obnoxious taxi wheelchair.
Yeah, which does not work in live action as well as it does in a cartoon. That thing was coming up to here. It was like he was in a high chair, which makes me wonder. And this is me getting a little conspiratorial, but I've done it before. Marvel is bringing back the X-Men cartoon.
97. Yep.
Yeah, and so I wonder if that's going to play off of anything.
So I was listening to the Kind of Funny like in review of this, and I like this thought. They're saying that universe that the Illuminati was in, that's the universe of the original X-Men animated series, and that's basically 97 is going to be like them leading up to, or kind of like
the
in
prequel.
Yeah.
And the question is, do we see the introduction of like the Fantastic Four in that universe, Captain Marvel in that universe, etc.?
Well, because another thing they're saying is that I guess that suit and like the blue stripe, like the green suit, the blue stripe tie is like exactly what he wears in the old animated series and in the promo for X-Men 97. So
yeah, so it like obviously they chose the same actor, but it's not at all supposed to be a variant on the early 2000s X-Men movies.
Correct.
It is very much the cartoon X-Men.
Yeah,
which I think is cool that they decided to kind of pull more from that.
Better theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things
the
where it's
mind
like,
thing with the waves, like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
that was sick.
I saw a tweet today, LeighErin. I saw that you liked the tweet, but that's somebody said when Wanda killed him, somebody went, "Girl, that is your father's husband," but no one else in the theater understood what she said.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
That's
I
awesome.
enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, also that I really hope that that's not where Marvel plans to go with his wheelchair when they bring in the X-Men because I can't take it seriously.
I feel like
Everybody
there's a
who's
way they
like,
could have done it. I feel like they're if they just try not to do as much of a one-to-one, the yellow wheelchair can be done in live action.
I don't think the yellow Jordan and I have had this conversation before. I don't think the yellow anything can be done in live action. I think they all look so it is such a bright shade of yellow that on the page is more
Mhm.
muted than it is like in life.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
it's just so
just
bright.
just like that
to m
Wolverine suit.
Yeah.
Like even in the Wolverine, they muted it down a lot.
Yeah. And like in the films, they do a more like in the X-Men films, they do a more black dominant of the yellow black.
Hmm. Yep.
yeah. I would love for them to find a way to, like, introduce the original costume as a joke the way they've done in the MCU before.
Mhm.
Like with
Oh
WandaVision's
yeah.
Halloween episode with Luke Cage having the stuff on him because he ran out of the prison with it, but it looks like his old Power Man suit.
And
But I don't know. There was just such a lot of good moments, I think, in the movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it was good. I think it had its problems, but that it was good. Sorry,
Yeah.
Alec.
I would say for me, because actually seen this twice, and for me, I enjoyed it a lot on the first viewing, but going back a second time, it kind of made me see a bit more of parts that I necessarily didn't like knowing the Illuminati was just like all just that means really nothing. Like it kind of took
See,
away quite a bit.
I'm okay with that because in hindsight, I think if this movie, I feel like a lot of people expected that because this movie had the name Multiverse in it, this was going to be the movie that merged the the Fox universe into it, and that's how we were going to get a bunch of the characters. But I think giving this movie that responsibility, on top of playing off what we learned in WandaVision, on top of
Mm.
introducing America Chavez, and then don't forget, it is at the end of the day Doctor Strange's movie. We have to touch on him emotionally, which I think they did good by dripping
Oh
that in
yeah.
throughout everything that was happening. I feel like that would have been a lot for this movie to take on. So I actually think it was smarter that they introduced what the multiverse is in a more official capacity. They talked to us about why it is dangerous to travel through the multiverse. So that's also going to tell us that like
Incursions. Yep.
that Marvel, the MCU universe merging with whatever other universe they want to do when the mutants come in, whether that be an original universe or the Fox universe, etc., is going to have its own consequences, and then that will all happen at its own thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I necessarily never was going into this thinking that mutants are going to be introduced now. Because I'm thinking I was kind of going this is a Doctor Strange movie. They're not going to like have a crazy impact on the MCU because like again we're still building up to whatever the big bad for this phase is.
Yeah,
But
We all agree though that in no world was Tom Cruise cut out of this movie because of a leak. He
right.
wasn't in it. Let it be. Let it live. They're not bringing Tony Stark back. Let him die. It's fine.
That's what
there's a
Ironheart's
reason.
for.
I'll say this: there is a reason that no one in the Illuminati was a one-to-one of a hero we've had in the MCU before. They
Yeah.
don't even want to tease the idea of a variant of Tony or Cap or Natasha as somebody that could come back.
Yeah, because we're done. We're good. We're happy.
Well, I mean,
Mhm.
if this was if like imagine if the MCU was like a comic line, I wouldn't freak out if like, oh, they went to a multiverse, and obviously multiverse has their own Tony Stark. But because the general population is what it is, I know that they can't touch that with a 20-foot pole.
Mhm.
Yeah. There are people that think Tom Cruise was cut out of this movie
I also
because of
think
a
That's
that
leak that happened
ridiculous.
2 weeks ago.
I also
That
think
they
that Disney
paid
just
Tom Cruise.
yeah, I also think that Disney didn't want to touch Tom Cruise as a person.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if they wanted there to be a variant Tony Stark, I don't think they would have went with Cruz.
Oh, Brett would like one of us to read this, and so I will. Which is just me likey John Krasinski as Reed Richards. Finally, the Fantastic Four! 2 exclamation points.
Yes.
And that's Brett's official review of this movie.
This is Brett's official review of the film.
Me
Oh
likey.
god.
I mean,
Me
Fantastic
likey
Four is great. Can't wait for
They
that
are.
movie.
Oh, also, you know what else was a fucking metal ass line? When Mr. Fantastic went, I have kids, and Wanda goes, is their mother alive? And he goes, yeah. She goes, good. There'll be someone to raise them, and murks him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And part of me when he was like,
Which is also wild to me because it's like, oh, so you're fine that your children lost vision. It's that they don't have you. Like, what the
Listen.
shit?
Wanda was a little bit too much of like the moms whose whole thing is the fact that they're a mom and that's why they're so special. She touched on that a little bit in this movie when Strange went, you made them with magic, and she was like, all mothers do that. I was like, what does that mean? I don't like that.
Yeah, I hated that too. I also all I could think of was every medical show on the planet has a hysterical pregnancy storyline. And I was like, I like that at the end of the day, this is what we do. It always returns to a hysterical pregnancy storyline. When the woman starts doing crazy things and attacking people that used to be her friends, it's almost always a hysterical pregnancy in media, and I love it.
Like,
oh my god.
Well, I'll ask you this as somebody who obviously can't say, who can't really comment. I saw an article today saying that Wanda's whole motivation being her kids is a bit of a sexist trope. What do you think on that?
I don't
I
think
understand
it
that you
is.
don't speak for all women, but I just want to hear your opinion.
Yes, I don't speak for all women, but I don't think it's a sexist trope because at the end of the day, this is going to get into a little bit of a conversation about feminism really quick. But at the end of the day, the entire idea about feminism is that you are free to choose whatever path you want. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom and you want to raise kids and that's all you want to do, awesome. That's great. If you don't, that's also cool. I don't think it's sexist to have a female character whose drive is that they want to be a mom and they want to have their kids, especially in this case where she got her kids and then they were they were not real, but they were still taken from her, and she's still a human being and has a human psyche. I think it's I don't think it's sexist at all. I think it's that maybe Wanda has different views than a Captain Marvel or
one of the things where it's there's no way to ever convince her that those kids weren't real. And just from a psychological standpoint, I get that it's she felt them. They were tangible to her at some point.
Yeah.
To her,
she had physical hallucinations. That's wild.
And then to only find out that they're real in the multiverse is only kind of proving her point more.
Exactly. I don't think it's sexist. I think it's she has something she wants that she can't have and has been corrupted by this evil book to make her go after in a way she wouldn't usually go after it. That's no different than I don't know. Monica being told by 8,000 people not to go back into the Westview bubble and that it was going to do something to her, but she believed in it so strongly that she went and did it, even though you could argue that it could have really hurt her.
Yeah.
Or other people. So I don't think it's sexist at all. I think it's just different women have different wants.
And I also think that a crazed parent storyline or a parent doing the bad things because of their kids, maybe they do it in a way with when it's the mother, it's painted as more hysteric, but I've always felt that this isn't the best one-to-one, but Flint Marko in Spider-Man 3, the only reason he's doing all those bad things is to get medicine for his daughter. And that's a father figure.
I was listening to the Kind of Funny interview of Spider-Man 3, and Frank Miller said that exact sentence, and Andy went, nah, I bet that was a lie. I bet he was robbing people before. That's that's so fucked up. That's so fucked up to watch that movie and be like, nah, he used his daughter's, what is it, cancer?
They don't say what it is.
Remember.
It's just that...
Okay, they use his daughter's medical bills to justify his life of crime.
I mean, there's an entire TV show that does that, and it's called Breaking Bad.
I thought that was his medical bills.
Yes, but he's also his wife is about to give birth when he gets diagnosed, so and his son has cerebral palsy, so it's kind of all of it.
Ew.
Yeah.
So anybody recognize the what was it, like the Wanda, like when she was like walking after the whole Illuminati, like all them died, it was like almost like the exact same walk she had from the zombies episode in What If?
Yeah.
Yes. I thought
So
she was in the trailer. I thought she was the zombie from What If.
that's the thing. This so I feel like a lot of people are like, damn, What If was bad, and is Doctor Strange about to make What If matter? But I feel like what's
Right?
so
Me. Just say
interesting,
it was me. Just say it was me. It was me.
you you're not the only person who thinks What If was
It's
bad.
like What If was bad, and I'm mad that they're gonna make it matter.
No, you're
It's
not the only
fine.
person
At
who thinks it
me.
was bad. But what I think is interesting is that they took stuff from What If, but they went like halfway with it. Like, okay, there's
Mhm.
really no way to ever tell if that Captain Carter is 100% the same Captain Carter from episode 1.
I
But
guess that she isn't, because how would she be? Oh, from episode 1. Sorry.
what did I say? Or what did you take that
No,
as?
you said episode. I was thinking the final episode where they become like the Guardians of the Multiverse or whatever they call themselves.
No, no, no. I'm talking about like, is that the same exact Captain Carter that we saw? We could assume that for all the important
Probably
stuff, it
not.
is.
Yeah, or
Now,
could be. I don't know.
we didn't see the zombie universe, but we saw Wanda be very similar to her zombie self, and we know why that's fucked because Wanda's zombie Wanda was nothing to mess with. We saw Strange as a zombie, and then the Strange that he does the music fight with, I feel was like almost exactly that Strange from episode 6, but not the exact
Mhm.
same one. And
Yeah,
me
different
me and the people I
motivation.
went to see the movie this who I went to see the movie with were like debating this because it's like he said, "Oh, I wanted Christine for myself," and in the show we see that he wanted just to save her, he wanted to keep her alive. But in part of that montage in that episode of What If where we just see Christine die over and over again, and one of them she was getting married, so they could have been,
I
but I
don't think
feel
it is. I think because he's not in that little like trapped reality that
Pocket
he's in
dimension.
at the end of
Yeah.
one
yeah,
in
and
that
he also
pocket
doesn't have a
dimension.
snow globe with Ultron and Killmonger in it, and I feel like that's something you don't throw away in a drawer. I feel like that's something you keep your eye out on.
You keep where you can see it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's fine. It's a different
But
one. There can
it,
be clearly there are multiple Doctor Stranges that do fucked up shit that they
yes,
shouldn't
but what I'm
do.
saying is like we can assume that in terms of the big picture stuff, that's kind of like the episode 6 Doctor Strange. Like the finer
Yeah,
details might be different, but the big bullet points are basically he's more like that one than he is the one we saw in the beginning or the MCU one.
yeah. He's just like
Oh,
Mhm.
a dude.
I want to share a thought I had during the movie real quick. Did you guys feel that in the beginning, like third of the movie, there were a bunch of people asking Strange if what he did with Thanos was truly the only way? I feel like there was 2 or 3 different times he was asked that. I was like, "Why do they keep repeating this?"
Yeah, but that's probably because
Mhm.
Strange probably struggles with that every day.
Well,
Because like
listen,
even if you're completely
just I want you to know where my mind went. I was like, "Why do they keep hammering this home?" And then we get to the 838 universe or whatever it was, and there was um the monument where it was like Strange who sacrificed his life fighting Thanos. I thought there was going to be a big reveal that he saw 2 universes where they could win, but one was him dying and one was Tony dying, and he picked that one. And that this Doctor Strange had the balls to pick the one where he sacrificed himself.
yeah, no, I just thought everybody was asking because like that's just something you'd wonder as a person. Like even if you're like,
Well,
because
that
he's
and they
not
know Strange
God.
too. Like they know his
What?
personality. And so they know who
Yeah.
Strange is. Like they know his personality. So they're like,
Yeah. Also, that
was that
doctor
really
really
the only
buried the
way?
lead by telling him that his cats died before his brother.
It's all very sad. Let's stop shaming the man.
I don't know. He gave me weird vibes. I don't like him.
Um, but yeah, I just think it was like you would wonder that because he's not God. He's not omnipotent and doesn't know
Mhm.
like he can be wrong in theory. And so like there's that fear of like did I miss something? Like did I pull out of that
Mhm.
spell too soon and miss one of the outcomes that like
Should I have checked
didn't end
30
that way.
million?
Yeah.
Well, then there's
Um,
also like the line of thinking if you go back to the first Doctor Strange where the ancient one's like, oh, you can only see as far as until your death. So in a lot of those 14 million cases, he only saw until his death. So he couldn't see
so
the
he wouldn't
final
be able to see
outcome.
beyond that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because he could only see the one they got because at a certain point he came back.
Yep.
But he
Exactly.
can't tell them because he can't tell them that that's what's going to happen because then it's going to make it that it
Exactly.
doesn't happen because it just like fucks with everything.
Hmm.
So like, yeah.
Mm. I do want to say I something I would like to see. And I know it's annoying to be like, oh, I want to see every detail of this universe, but I do want to see kind of like how Wong set everything up in Endgame, where it sounded like Doctor Strange and him have like communicated at some point where he was like, in 5 years, you're gonna have to do this. And suddenly all those portals were ready in the final act.
Because they also kind of imply in Endgame that like, you know, the snap happened and then they fight for a little bit before the portals open.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
when he snaps back, they fight for a while. So you can just assume that at that point Strange was like, "Okay, we got to get out of here. I got to find Wong." We find Wong and then we set them all
Hmm.
apart and like you know, it's a lot of sorcerers being like, "We do not have time to chat. We just got to go here."
Well, I mean, look how many of them showed up to protect the school without
Well,
second
yeah,
guessing.
that's like their thing.
Hmm.
It's
So
like
many
their
people,
vibe.
so many people on Twitter have been like laughing at Juan, going, "Fortify your minds."
Fire minds. It's so
Uh,
funny. I love
I saw one
him.
of Omni Man, like when he was like crouching down, like in the finale of Invincible, and with just the
Yeah.
subtitle "Fortify Your Mind."
Fortify your mind.
oh, it's so good. Any final
Honestly, yeah.
thoughts?
No. It was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah, go see it.
Yeah, I'm happy
Yeah.
this movie is as unique as it is.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
those
it's
are our
different. I
thoughts.
like different, you know.
All right, everyone. Well, that wraps it up for the Multiverse of Madness spoiler cast. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.